Hello and welcome to a special episode of Backyard Effects, the show that teaches you how to build awesome special effects for your low budget movies for super cheap. In this episode, I'll show you how I reinvented the wheel. My name is Justin and this is my first sample test episode. First, I'd like to say that Backyard Effects is an awesome show. I've been watching it for years. We're all sad to see you go, Eric. Not only that, but you're a very tough act to follow. But when this opportunity to build cool stuff and make my own episode in the legendary BFX style presented itself, I got super excited. Only problem was, I was a few items short of being able to shoot my first test build. Well, maybe more than a few items. I needed to borrow a camera and then dust off my tools to build my own version of the Wheel of Prosperity and a puppet friend to spin it. Now everyone who is anyone knows at the beginning of every BFX episode, Eric and Gary spin the Wheel of Prosperity to determine the budget of the build. It's kind of a BFX staple. Now since I don't have a Wheel of Prosperity or a puppet friend to spin it, I'm going to use this ancient artifact from a long forgotten culture to jump 2 weeks ahead into the future where the puppet and the wheel are already done, and have them spin the wheel to determine the budget for building them. Well, here we are 2 weeks in the future, and Larry is going to spin the Wheel of Prosperity. Larry,
Yeah.
spin the wheel. Well, actually, I've got the receipt right here. I mean, we already know how much it's going to cost, so if I spin the wheel... You know what? I can't even talk to you. You know, I'm going back to my own time. Now, before I started the build, I grabbed a bunch of random pieces that I thought would be good. Some of them I used and some of them I didn't. Plastic dollar store pan, giant toy toothbrush, plastic forks, dollar store dip cups, knobs from a futon, a random piece of plastic, some toy truck rims, plastic ice cream glass, some copper wire, a pipe fitting, some barbecue skewers, a random spring, wiring harness from a car door, a small automotive hose, another car wiring harness, a heavy-duty cardboard tube, and Christmas lights, and a broken plastic plate. Now I got most of the parts that I used for this build at the local dollar store, but I also used a lot of junk that I had laying around. Yes, I actually did have this junk laying around. Don't you judge me.
Loser.
Simple time lapse. Woo!
First thing I did was cut the bottom off the plastic ice cream glass. Then I made sure the cardboard tube fit inside the pipe fitting. Then I measured and cut the cardboard tube to fit inside of the top of the ice cream glass. I drilled out the bottom of the cup and slid it over the tube, making sure it fit tightly. Then I drilled a hole in the futon knob and put a bolt through with the nut on the other side. Next, I painted the cardboard tube black and wrapped some of the copper wire around it and held it all in place with the knob assembly and made sure everything fit inside the ice cream glass. Then I used the glass to mark out a hole in the center of the dollar store pan and cut it out and fit it over the top of the glass. By this time the barbecue skewers I had taped together and painted were dry, so I cut slits in the cup areas of the pan and slid them through like spokes on a wheel. Then I drilled holes in the 6 dollar store dip cups and slid them over the barbecue skewers. Next I broke the head off the giant dollar store toothbrush, cut off the brush part, and put a wooden dowel inside for extra support and glued it back together. Then I measured and drilled a hole in the middle to mount it to the hub, glued in a cool washer I had laying around, then glued one of the toy truck rims onto a piece of plastic plate, glued it onto the pan, and cut a hole for the car door harness to fit into, and glued everything together. Then I took 2 more of the toy truck rims and glued them next to the wiring harness. Then drilled out the lug nut holes and fed wires from the door harness through and glued them on the other side. Now I took the random spring I've been saving for no reason and cut out a slot for it to fit at the top of the pan. Next I cut the handles off 6 plastic forks
and glued them onto the ends of the barbecue skewers sticking out of the dip cups, and glued the other random car wiring harness to the pan and fed the ends around and glued them onto the front. After that, I put the whole wheel on the hub I made earlier, set it on an old chair bottom, and glued it in place. Then I cut out the number plates and glued them onto the dip cups. I used my last toy truck rim and a wing nut to attach the spinner on the front, wrapped some Christmas lights around the back of the hub so they showed through the ice cream glass, glued on a few more random pieces, and gave it a test spin.
Ooh, what's going on here?
Just this thing I got on eBay.
Well, what does it do?
I don't know, give it a spin.
Look at that! I got 3 wishes. I think I'll wish for a giant candy bar. Whoa! That doesn't make any sense. How could that possibly happen?
Who cares? That was awesome.
What should I wish for next?
You should totally wish for 3 more wishes.
That is a genius idea. I think I'll take you up on that. Why didn't I think of that? You're the bomb.
Now, I've never really done anything like this build episode before. Quite honestly, I'd rather be behind the scenes making the special effects, or on the other side of the camera. Thanks for watching, and be sure and keep an eye out for my next test episode, where I go over how I created my puppet, Scary Larry. Well, that was anticlimactic.